Hello there. I decided to do my poem by Alexander Pope, epitaph intended for Sir Isaac Newton, Westminster Abbey, 1730. And the poem goes like this. Nature and nature's laws lay hid in night. God said, let there be Newton, and all was light. I think what the poet was saying in this is there was a lot of things that had not been discovered or even been thought of, but once Newton put a lot of his theories and practices out there, there was a lot of new concepts that came into the world that we knew. There was a lot of things, for instance, the way they looked at the universe was different. A lot of course, mathematical equations came to be, and the law of gravity, of course, changed a lot, and there was a lot of discoveries that came from that. I have chosen to do my poem here, filmed it in my home gym here, just to kind of go with one of the laws of motion. Basically, an object in motion stays in motion. And I feel that the way that this changed the world views is, for one, if we continue to do the things that we constantly do every day, day in and day out, you know, we get up, we go to work, maybe we go to school, or everything becomes routine. And I think as a world and society, if we continue to do everything the same as we always have, nothing's ever gonna change. It's always gonna be as it once was. We're not gonna progress. We're just gonna fall into the same patterns. So looking at Newton's law of gravity, for instance, an object in motion will stay in motion, right? Unless there's a different force that pulls it into a different way or stops it. So with our lives, if we continue walking down the same path, doing what we're doing, we're not going to change. In order to get out of that state of inertia, we have to start doing things differently and maybe head a different direction. So that's how he has impacted the world and made a difference. One of the things that I learned from poetry, I'm going to be honest, I don't love poetry, but it's because it has such a different way of looking at things. You have to really be very creative and look at things not just from a perspective of what you know to be true, but you also have to kind of like look at the big picture and see what it really means. One of the things I saw in one of the writings I did is I sat and looked at it from a religious perspective, even though we were told not to, but once I kind of took that part out of it, I was able to see the other side of it and how people may have looked at it. You really have to open up your mind a lot and look at it from a different perspective and just kind of be open-minded and try to see for what it is. It definitely, you know, being creative and kind of looking at stuff also opened up my mind to see and learn a bigger lesson and see more out of it. At the end, I kind of enjoyed it, but it was a little bit rough at first because, like I said, I'm not a fan of poetry. So it helped me kind of think a little bit more instead of doing the traditional methods of reading research, which we could have done with this project, read the research, read the history on Newton, what he did, maybe looked up some of his scientific accomplishments, and we would have learned the lesson. But when you looked at it this way, it was like, okay, there was a lot going on in the world at that time. People are not always open to change and something that's different, but in the end, he obviously made a huge difference. I mean, look, we have all these great things, workout equipment that kind of changes our lives and how we are physically. If it wasn't for him, we probably wouldn't have that. So thank you.